Is there anything I can do, sir? Please. Don't do this to my wife, man. You don't know what you're doing to my family, man. Please. I'm begging you. I'm literally where am I going to put my feet? Sir, I'm begging you. Please. Please. Please.
That is not a crime, and you're telling me to get out of my vehicle.
Do you know where Lieutenant Mingus is right now? So, no, he's not in the building?
I don't know. I'm not.
What do you know? I'm not telling you nothing else until I find out who's driving that vehicle. You not a supervisor, bro. I need somebody higher than you right now.
If you didn't know, I went to the police academy and they kicked me out.
That's my purse! I don't know you!
Spit me on my face right now. She spit in my face.
Today's video takes us to glittering Las Vegas, Nevada. But we won't be looking at the gambling tables. No! Instead, we're going to stop by the Clark County Detention Center where Chille de Castro is locked up for 6 months. And he's on a rant and rave against Judge Zimmerman, the very woman who put him behind bars. Oh my goodness. Let's all sit back, watch, have a good laugh, and most of all, enjoy!
Hello world, my name is Chille de Castro. I'm a journalist who's been wrongfully imprisoned at the Clark County Detention Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. I am an innocent man who has been jailed unjustly and unrighteously. I'm a journalist, I have a voice that should be heard. My videos on YouTube alone are heard or watched 1 million times a day. This report is my verbal op-ed. Judge Ann Zimmerman, this message is to you. Release me from this jail, please. I've taken responsibility publicly and agreed with my family, friends, and colleagues that my behavior in court was inappropriate. I fully believe, teach, and lecture about the rule of law being fundamental to our society. It is for this reason I say to Judge Ann Zimmerman now, release me from this jail, please. The nature of government and the principle of government are different. The nature of law is how it is consisted, the structure of it, of objective law. The principle of law is how government acts, how it behaves. It is the human passion that sets government into motion. This understanding of nature versus principle comes directly from Montesquieu's book, The Spirit of Laws. Well then, Judge Ann Zimmerman's principles are inconsistent and out of bounds. Why and how can I state this so emphatically clear? We have scraped the data and analyzed the last 2,000 cases of Judge Ann Zimmerman. We have identified a dozen cases that went back to a bench trial. A bench trial means that Judge Zimmerman is the judge, jury, and executioner. And so far, we have 3 exact cases that are the same as my charges, the same NRS codes. In the past year, this judge has given these 3 defendants impulse training classes, and then the misdemeanor would fall off their record. The data will show her consistency and that she broke her principles, putting me in jail. Judge Ann Zimmerman, release me from this jail at once.
What is Chille babbling about? Release me now, Ann Zimmerman. Release me now. Yeah, for a guy who's trying to get out of jail, I don't think he's going about it in the right way. What do you good people think? Yeah, he's going to talk about torture cuffs pretty soon. I just know it. Well, you know what? Those are designed to keep you in line, Chille, when you've been a bad boy. Bad boy.
Please. Why would the judge show obvious bias and give me such an unfair and harsh sentence? What can you do about it? First, because Zimmerman is not her maiden name. Zimmerman is the name of the Las Vegas Metro Police Lieutenant she married over 2 decades ago. Even after he divorced her, she kept the last name, meaning Judge Zimmerman loves cops, and I do not. She formed her bias and hatred for me before the sham trial even began. Second, what can you do about it? You can petition her and petition the court to release me now. I know for a fact that thousands of you, good and patriotic Americans, have called, emailed, and sent your petition to the court in the form of a letter, asking and demanding that I am released from this dungeon. Thank you, but we have not done enough. We, you and me, have a First Amendment right to petition our government and its officials when they have lost their virtue and broken their principles. We have not petitioned them enough. It is our only recourse to redress a clear and biased judge who's gone out of her reason and purpose to jail a nonviolent journalist. Zimmerman has behaved like a monarch or a queen in a despotic government, like a rogue judge in an aristocratic government. We have a republic government that is supposed to be navigated by objective law, not by personal bias, by a judge who was the wife of a cop. Instead of acting as a custodian of justice, she has behaved like an obvious tyrant. Petition her and demand that she release me from this dungeon, immediately, swiftly, and please. Petition the court in the tens of thousands because it is the only recourse that we, the people, have. Judge Zimmerman, the only way you will be able to restore the word honor to your name is by releasing me now. I have owned my errors, Judge, but have you owned yours? I don't think that you followed the rule of law on that day in court. You lost integrity. I do not believe that you have the right to search me illegally. I believe that you violated my constitutional rights, as did the bailiff under your directives when he snatched the phones out of my hand.
Chille, are you still crying about the judge taking your phone away? Yeah, you wanted to secretly record the proceedings, didn't you, so you could upload it to your YouTube channel? Ah, Chille. You know what? If you just lived a regular life, now what do I mean by that? You're not a journalist. Yeah, get a real job, man. Stop all this nonsense. And maybe you won't have to go back to the pokey again. Remember, you have another upcoming court case the same as this one. That could be another 6 months in Slammer with Bubba.
The bar complaint I'll be filing, well, it may eventually determine that. It depends. However, my 2 petitions will most certainly be filed. I had 6 full-time employees and now only 3. Because the biased Judge Zimmerman did not give me 3 days to get my business orders and affairs in order, she simply threw me in jail, directly from court. Perhaps it is because you, Judge Zimmerman, needs impulse training classes. This is not an apology. I said I'm sorry for hurling slurs in court and calling the bailiff a pig, even if he was behaving like one. The courtroom is supposed to be a place where the insults cease, and using objective, defined law, an impartial judge and jury, using rationale, integrity, reason, attempt to find and administer justice. I have received none of that. Instead, my rights were violated from the start. Petition her and petition this court. Send in your petition via U.S. Postal Service. Do not be rude, crass, or threatening. Hold on to your virtue and your self-respect that Judge Zimmerman lost when she put a nonviolent journalist, a champion of our civil liberties, in jail. Do not call names, no. Go above and beyond. Be immaculate with your verbiage. Be the change you want to see on the paper you write upon. I do not wish Judge Zimmerman fear or harm. No, I do not. I want her to live every breath of her life where she sees the public has turned against her. I want her to witness the side-eye sneer in every grocery store clerk, in every market, in every chance encounter, whether it be the dog groomer or the car wash. She will be the face of injustice, the living embodiment of tyranny. Judge Zimmerman at sentencing said to me that I hate cops. I thought it was my right to hate cops if I want to. If this is true or not, she said it and then jailed me. Why would I despise the cop? Because thinking is man's only basic virtue. To live, a man must hold 3 things supreme.
Oh, dearie me. Get ready for it, good people. We're going to get an edumacation from the constitutional law scholar. Ooh, 3 things that a man needs to live. I can't wait to hear that. We know you're a cop hater because you always make this with your fist. Look what you're doing with your hand. Yeah, I'm not going to say what that is. We all know what that is. And Chille is a cop hater through and through. I don't know what his issue is with cops. I think he got pulled over and got too many tickets. That's why he hates cops. I don't know. That's what I think.
Reason, purpose, and self-esteem. We no longer need to chain people's wrists behind their backs with the use of cameras and tracking devices available today. Technology can now end the chaining of people, incapacitating human beings with chains around their wrists behind their backs. Now, today, this could happen immediately. These men and women have been bought to turn off their brains, to repeat inhumane rhetoric like they're not supposed to be comfortable as they put torture cuffs on people, as they are paid too much money. The money they earn should only be based on their knowledge and their ability. If these people can't see that they are greedy little pigs, then test the job market. Put your resume out. You are not a $100,000 a year man. Put your resume out on the job market and find out what you get. The job market will show you your true value. Knowledge plus ability equals product or value of your labor. Your so-called knowledge is the policy given to you, and you have the ability to turn off your brain and morality to chain and cage humans. And that's why you're giving health, vision, and dental plans. Not because you have virtue created by your value. Not because you have virtuously created your value. You, the cop, who I have called a pig, are willing to chain and cage humans. It's so sick and twisted. It's so immoral and wrong. But you do it for you and yourself alone. All of man's endeavors are primarily for self, and we know this is true. Judge Zimmerman jailed me for herself, to justify hating me for what I do, point out the injustice and despotic government, for her to justify her love of the cop. How many cops does Judge Zimmerman work with week in and week out? How many cops from her wedding over 2 decades ago is she still in a chummy relationship with decades later? Judge Zimmerman, how many hours of my videos did you watch before you met me in court? How many hours of my videos have you watched since court ended?
I think the dungeon and the torture cuffs have gotten to Chille's mind. He seems to have lost his mind, whatever mind he had in the first place, that is. By the way, torture cuffs are not supposed to be comfortable. They're not called torture cuffs. They're called handcuffs, and they're for compliance. Because you can't seem to live within the framework of our laws and our society and our civilization. That's what the problem is. Jail is for people who can't conform to civilization. And you're not a journalist. Just because you have a cell phone camera does not make you a journalist, Chille. Hey, I wonder what's going on with everything now. He said he lost his employees and his van. I guess his family's taking care of all that, huh? You have a place to live when you get out of the dungeon?
At my appeal bond hearing, Judge Zimmerman said that my attitude has not changed. What does my attitude have to do with objective law? You think that jailing me will force me to endorse a system of torture cuffs and despotism? I am chained on my wrists and ankles when I'm taken to court. You think my attitude is the problem? Open your eyes. Chains are from the slave era. We are now in a digital era. Why don't we move the bailiff station between the judge and the defendant? Oh wow, yeah, change the layout. Think about how easy it would be. Instead of torture cuffing people, put a V-neck frame over their shoulders, much like football pads, with a camera on the front of the chest and a camera on the back of the chest. Can you imagine that, actually not putting people in torture cuffs and adding a tracking device? Chaining anybody except the criminally insane is inhumane and barbaric. Technology will eventually change everything, but not with these despotic people in our government. I say now, petition her. Petition the court. Release me now. 100,000 petitions. Send in your patriotic, respectful, detailed petition to Judge Ann Zimmerman. On the fold where you seal the envelope, write the words, "Release DeCastro in the name of justice." 100,000 petitions is our goal. Judge Zimmerman, the only way to restore any honor to your name is to release me now with time served. It's a fact that I will sue you. If you do not have me killed in here, then when I leave this jail, I will in fact sue you. I do not deserve to be here. Judge Zimmerman was wrong. She showed her bias and violated my civil rights. I will take every legal step possible to rectify this injustice. However, I will not do anything illegal, and I'm not asking you in any way, shape, or form to step out of bounds. What we will not do is give them what they want. They want to brand us bad. They want to brand us outcasts, fringe, and lawless. Be beyond reproach in your petition. Write nicely and print it out. Explain clear this cop-loving judge bias and her indefensible sentencing. Her own cases show the data that she does not put people in jail for this, and she did it to me because of her bias.
For once, I'm in full agreement with Chille, except that I'm not writing to the judge to have him released. I'm writing to the judge to keep him locked up because he's a smartass. He's a cop hater, and he needs to learn a few lessons in life. I'm just hoping at his next trial he gets another 6 months in jail. That'll really break him in half, won't it? Yeah, I'm telling you, a year in jail would break anybody. I'm telling you, because they're not nice places to be, are they, Chille? How you getting along with Bubba and the boys?
We'll post both in the Las Vegas Review and the Sun when all the data scraping is completed and her cases are compiled. She broke her principles and she lost her virtue. Write it out, write it nicely, write it clear, write it clean. Just write it put it in the mail, and send it. I have been warned by the Las Vegas police that this jail can take away my phone privileges and make my time here very hard. To my jailers, I say to you this: I've been quiet, respectful, and shown deference. To all jail staff, my calling for this tyrannical judge to be petitioned is my right, and it is our right. It is your rights I am standing on now. I do not agree with locking me in a cell for 23 hours a day. I do not consider what you did to me fair or justice. Upon leaving this jail, should I live through this, I will file a petition against the Clark County Detention Center for clearly cheating me and violating my civil rights. Nowhere in the Clark County Detention Center handbook does it read the words, "No live streaming."
Oh, come on, Chille. You're in jail. You shouldn't even be allowed to have a cell phone. He's crying because he can't live stream. Man, you should be lucky they're feeding you. Get locked down for 23 hours a day. They should just put you somewhere, lock the door, and give you water every day. How about that?
Once again, technology has passed up the dated government policy. However, I ask this question to my jailers. Do you want to live in a country with no free speech, no right to petition, assemble, religion, or to be the press? It is for the rule of law that I stand here today before you. It is my right to call for petition, to non-violently protest, to non-violently assemble. To my loyal people and supporters, you should hear from me always within 48 hours. Always. Please, unless you do not hear from me, let the jailers be. Outside of the unlawful imprisonment, when they locked me down for 5 days, strip-searched me, and demoralized me by looking at my backside, outside of that, each individual guard has treated me fairly and within their policies. I would like to thank them for doing that. I'd like my people to focus on petitioning the court for my release. We have another judge, Judge Michelle Levitt, who will be hearing my case on July 10th. The judges must be treated with respect and deference. The judges must be petitioned and told that this is wrong. I should be released immediately the time served. We will fight the appeal process all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court if we must. We don't stop. Judge Zimmerman, I'm keeping my word and speaking and behaving with deference to the court. Own your error. This is injustice. Release me now, please. And thank you. Thank you all. This is Chille DeCastro, and this is my daily report. Catch you guys on the next one. Later, gators.
Chille is a desperate man, and desperate men do desperate things. Yeah, he doesn't understand what it is to be in a real prison. I think he needs to do some prison time, this jail time, this little namby-pamby. Although county jails can be a horrible place, man, if you're allowed to have a cell phone, it can't be that bad. Well, he's going before the same judge, Judge Levitt, that decided not to hear his bond hearing at all. She said, no, I'm not going to hear that. So yeah, good luck with that, baby boy. In the meantime, let's take a look at his appeal bond hearing that was denied. And let's also look at his original trial with Judge Zimmerman. Be sure to enjoy that. Compliments of Dr. Dave.
All right, Jose DeCastro, 23 CR 013015.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Chris Dorm on behalf of Mr. DeCastro. He's present.
Nice to see you, Chris. Good morning.
Good morning, Agnes Patel from the State Farm number 11064.
All right, this is your motion.
Yes, Your Honor. First of all, I've had a chance to watch the video of the trial. I watched Mr. DeCastro come into the courtroom in an extraordinarily disrespectful fashion and refer to the marshal in the most inappropriate way. I then saw some other things that I would consider very poor courtroom antics. And Mr. DeCastro was convicted. He is given 6 months in jail. One thing I know he's going to do today is, for no other purpose, no matter what your ruling is, he wants to say sorry. I've asked him if he'd say sorry to the court. I understand that you may see it as that he should have apologized to the marshal. I don't see the marshal in here that he did this with. One thing I would note for the court is that the issues that I saw seem to be significant constitutional issues. The court addressed it, but what I did notice is that this should have been really briefed beforehand on First Amendment issues, so the court could have had that. That's no fault of.
This case has nothing to do with the First Amendment. We're going to hear that in just a few moments. Yeah, Chille always wants to make it about the First Amendment and the fact that he's a journalist. But I tell you what, today's appearance is in stark contrast to last time. Look at him. He's only been in jail for what? Less than 2 weeks. He looks like he's a broken man. Of course, that could all be an act for him just to play sympathy to the judge, but it's not going to work today, sweetheart.
I think it just should have been done beforehand. I also noticed that at time of sentencing, the state asked for a suspended sentence, but Mr. Castro just pushed it, and I see reasonably agitated and irritated the court into causing a sentence that is now 6 months. This man, from what I can tell, Your Honor, has no prior felony convictions whatsoever. I'm doing that upon information and belief. I haven't run the scope. I know the state could do that, but I don't see that he has any felony convictions. He's made his appearances, and I think the time in jail has been shocking to him. I know it has, because I can tell the reaction of the calls every day and how difficult it is for him. I think he pushed this and is learning a very, very difficult lesson in life. I would ask the court to consider, based upon his ties to the community, with sister here, nephew, he has a whole bunch of people who wanted to come to court, which I suggested may be a very, if they're going to come here, be respectful and mindful of what's already occurred in this court. But what I asked the court to do, given his lack of any serious criminal history, his remorse for his behavior in this courtroom during that trial, and the fact that the state at the time did not want jail time, is I'd ask for an appeal bond, Your Honor, so that the issue can be, these issues can be properly raised. And so with that, Your Honor, I asked for an OR. I would just say a reasonable bail. I would suggest that since he came to the trial, since he already has gotten a taste of what inappropriate behavior in a courtroom looks like and feels like, I would ask for a bail in the amount of $10,000 or $20,000, appeal bond in the amount of $10,000 or $20,000.
With all the money that Chille is raising on his GoFundMe pages, why can't he afford a decent attorney? This guy is not well spoken. Well, Your Honor, as I can tell, he doesn't have any felonies. He either does or he doesn't, not as you can tell. And then he says, Mr. DeCastro has a whole bunch of people in here supporting him. What kind of language is that for a top-notch attorney? A whole bunch of people? Let's carry on.
With that, Your Honor,
Your Honor, may I respond orally? Typically, pursuant to the Nevada rules of criminal practice, the state has 10 days to file an opposition, but this was placed on calendar very quickly, so I would ask for leave of the court to answer orally.
Okay.
Your Honor, I'm in receipt of Mr. Orum's motion for bail or the alternative for his own recognizance release. I would note that NRS 178.488 does make it discretionary upon this court whether he would allow bail pending appeal. Mr. DeCastro, there has been a briefing schedule set before Judge Levitt in district court on the appeal, but it's not set to be heard until July. It's discretionary, Your Honor, as with a lot of the bail settings in Nevada, it's discretionary. And the state would oppose this court setting a bail at this point. There seems to be this assumption that this court sentenced Mr. DeCastro to 6 months in the Clark County Detention Center just because of his conduct or his inappropriate conduct in court. I would venture to say that Your Honor presided over the trial where you found guilt beyond a reasonable doubt for both the obstructing a police officer and resisting a police officer. You saw his conduct in the body-worn camera by the officer, and I would venture to say, and I would submit to the court, that the 6-month sentence that you imposed isn't simply for his behavior in court or his behavior to your marshals, but that it is an appropriate sentence placed upon the defendant by the court due to the charges and the evidence that you saw during trial. There's also been this claim that Mr. DeCastro has stayed trouble-free for most of his life. I would venture to say, yes, he does not have felony convictions, he does not have gross misdemeanor convictions, but he does have pretty consistent contact with law enforcement. He does have a warrant out of Ohio for a trespass.
Yeah, he sure does have a warrant out of Ohio. That's why he couldn't file a counterclaim on Dr. Dave, file a lawsuit. He couldn't come to Ohio. The poor lad. because I sure would have turned him in, no doubt about that. Now let's listen a little bit more to the prosecutor. And remember, this prosecutor asked for a 90-day suspended sentence. Chille just couldn't shut his mouth, though, could he?
Have a warrant out of Ohio for a trespass, and I understand that's a piddly misdemeanor. However, it is in warrant status. And he has a pending case in Las Vegas Justice Court for the very same offenses that the court heard during the trial here. As to the claim that, hey, there were issues before trial and there should have been First Amendment issues raised or briefed prior to, Your Honor, defense counsel was able to argue the First Amendment defense. Your Honor heard these arguments both during the trial and during closing arguments. Mr. DeCastro, when he took the stand, raised them as a defense, but Your Honor held, after listening to all of the evidence and applying the law, or found him guilty regardless. This was not a First Amendment issue. The state stands by that. This was simply the defendant breaking the law. And he was sentenced accordingly for his behavior. It was a conduct, it was a consequence, an appropriate sentence imposed by the court to the defendant. And so we would oppose any kind of change or any kind of bail setting or an OR at this point. This is not a pre-trial detention. This is not a pre-trial, as Valdez-Jimenez was cited also in defense counsel's motion. Valdez-Jimenez stands for pre-trial detention. Mr. DeCastro is no longer cloaked with the presumption of innocence. He has been found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt by Your Honor. And so at this point, I would ask that the 6 months sentence that you imposed stand and that he remain in custody.
Mayor, would like to agree.
Yes, and I ask the interpreter to quit reading. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Oh, dearie me. Sounds like Chille's going to be doing some sober living for 6 months. And he made a new friend. Just don't drop that soap in the shower, Chille. I'm telling you, Bubba will get you.
So the interpreter over there, yeah, Merrick speaking.
Oh, I was talking about the
I'm sorry.
interpreter. Yes, go ahead.
Your Honor, the statute we cited is, in fact, just discretionary to you to determine on appeal, pending appeal, whether a appeal bond can be issued. I hear the state. I recognize that you found him guilty. I'm not trying to in any way argue that. On appeal, there are legitimate issues. The court can see that there are some First Amendment issues just from watching the video, things that a court could consider on appeal, and so that's the only basis I'm bringing that up on. But given the fact that I think he really is contrite for what he's done.
I disagree. Have you watched the videos that have been posted since he's been incarcerated?
I have. I'm in a murder trial.
Okay, so.
So I had a chance.
So he's going to apologize to me in a minute, but that's not what he's saying on what he's publishing online in his phone calls from the jail. That's not what he's saying at all. And are you aware that he has a trial pending in Las Vegas Municipal Court? He has a case pending in Good Springs Justice Court where he continues to manufacture situations where he'll get arrested.
Chille, the judge has been watching your little shows from jail. She's been listening into you. Act like a big man. Perhaps she'll stop doing those live streams from jail, huh, Chille? Yeah, you're just trying to save your YouTube channel. I get it, but I don't think there's any hope in saving your channel. You'll be in that slammer for 6 months, boy.
Your Honor, I recognize that's what he was sort of doing for a living, and this is, he's now being incarcerated.
Right. So what he's saying in the couple of weeks since he's been incarcerated, when he calls from the jail and publishes them on his website, is not what he's about to say to me. Okay? So he's going to apologize to me now, but that's not what he's doing publicly, okay?
Yes, Your Honor. I hear that. I won't have him speak at this time, but I would still ask you to consider that there may be legitimate issues. I think there are for Judge Levitt to consider, and I think these are sort of issues of first impression. That was the other thing I saw, is that in the state of Nevada, I can't find any case law that specifically talks about this filming of police officers. What I would say to the court is I recognize that it's obnoxious behavior. That's what it appears to be. Whether it's protected is another thing that I think higher courts need to look at. But I can see if the court has already made up the court's manual.
Well, I want to be clear, I did not have a problem with him filming, and I said that when I sentenced him. That was not the issue. It was the safety issues that he created with his behavior. And I also did not sentence him because of his ridiculous behavior in court. That wasn't why I sentenced him to jail. I sentenced him because I found him guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, and I thought that was the appropriate sentence. I could have given him 180 days on each count and ran it consecutive for a year in jail, but I didn't. And his behavior was unacceptable in court, but that's not what I sentenced him for. I did not sentence him for his behavior in court. I sentenced him for his behavior for the 2 charges that he faced.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so your motion is denied. Thank you.
Thank you.
There you have it, good people. Back to the slammer. Yeah, or in his case, it could be the pokey, or it could be both. Yeah, I think it would be appropriate to play the original court hearing where Chille acted like a real jackwagon. Let's go ahead and roll that clip and celebrate him being locked up for 6 straight months. Go ahead.
All right, Jose Castro, 23 CR 013015.
Good morning, Your Honor. Agnes Botello and Lynn Cave for the record. Good morning, State.
Good morning, Michael. Me on behalf of the defendant present with me this morning.
So I have signed 2 media requests that permit recording or photographing these proceedings, but I have not granted any other requests to record or live stream these proceedings. So I need Mr. DeCastro and everybody else who wants to stay in the courtroom to surrender their phones, or you can leave.
Are your phone covered and I'll take one, or you can have it.
I need Mr. DeCastro to empty all of his pockets.
What's that?
Empty your pockets
and give up your phones to the judge.
Okay.
I have to give you my phones?
Yeah.
My phones have to be completely off?
Yep. I don't really want to be part of your YouTube channel. So.
You already are.
Great.
You already are.
Awesome.
I'm not going to get into this guy, though. I'll get into someone else.
No, they're going to go to my marshal.
He's a pig.
Excuse me?
I said he's a pig.
Okay. So I'm not going to permit you to speak to anybody in my courtroom in that manner. And if you don't want to apologize, I'm going to hold you in contempt.
I apologize to the court, Your Honor.
No, you can apologize to, they've done nothing to you.
Actually, Your Honor, when you were here, you came over and gave me a directive for no reason and started telling me what to do.
Okay, well.
I have all the respect and love for the court. I follow the rule of law all the time.
No, it is their job to maintain the safety and security of the courtroom.
I agree with you, Your Honor.
So, if you want to speak like that in my courtroom, I'm going to hold you in contempt. And if I hold you in contempt, you're going to jail. That is not my wish. Okay?
I wish you did.
All right. So I need you to empty your pockets too. Suit pocket, pants pocket.
This is illegal. This is a violation of my Fourth Amendment.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is. I don't have any recording devices on me. What are you talking about?
How about suit jacket?
I don't have anything on me. This is preposterous.
No, it's
This
not.
really is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Mr. Me, your phone too. Off.
They're recording everything.
They have a media request.
Right, and I'm not recording anything. Your guy here took my phone, so his phone's not on.
Right.
Just make sure. You have to take the lawyer's phone too?
No, I'm not going to take the lawyer's phone. He's an officer of the court. All right. Do we have everybody's phones? Are they off? All right. Good. All right.
So within the first couple of minutes here, Chille's managed to offend the judge, offend the police, and probably offend his mama. Yeah, Chille, you better watch it, because you'll be held in contempt of court. Well, it plays out even better than that. Let's keep rolling the clip.
All right, this is the time set for the trial of State of Nevada versus Jose DeCastro, 23 CR 013015. Is the state ready to proceed?
Yes, we are, Your Honor.
How many witnesses do you have?
We anticipate one.
All right, is the defense ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. I have your request to convert counsel to standby counsel. I'm going to deny that request. Either you represent him or he should have previously requested a Frauditor canvas to represent himself. But I just consider that a delay tactic, so that request is denied. Are you ready to proceed? Otherwise, I'm assuming you are.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, let's take.
And we're not going to listen to the entire proceeding. I'll put a link in the description box if you want to watch the entire thing for yourself. But look at the smart-ass look on Chille's face. Oh, he's real smug now. But about 90 minutes from now, he's not going to be so smug. Let's go ahead and jump ahead a bit.
1 hour later.
Your Honor, I call Jose de Castro.
Raise your right hand to be sworn by the clerk. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Please be seated.
Mr. DeCastro, before you testify, I'm obligated to inform you that you have the right to testify in this proceeding, but you also have the right to remain silent, and should you choose to remain silent, I may not hold that against you in making my decision. Do you understand that?
I do.
And do you still wish to testify?
Yes, I do.
All right, please go ahead.
You have a YouTube channel?
Yes, I do.
Can you give some insight into what that channel was about?
Objection, relevance.
What's the relevance?
Your Honor, the relevance is that we're presenting a First Amendment defense, and the defendant is a member of the press. There's different standards for First Amendment rulings where there is public policy at issue. He can give insight into that.
I'm going to allow it for a bit and see where it goes.
Yes, I do have I do have a YouTube channel, and the reason I have a YouTube channel is because of how many cops kill people every year, how many cops hurt, maim, torture, rape, and kill people every single year. It's such an epidemic that the rest of the world, I get thousands of emails saying, only in America does this happen. I started filming cops because when I was cheated in 2002.
Objection at this point, relevance.
Well, this is the reason I'm a member of the press.
This narrative.
So, can you ask him a question?
Yes, Your Honor. What type of films do you make for your YouTube channel?
I only film police in their official capacity. I'm known across the country and across the world.
Oh, you pompous twit. I'm known all over the world. Yeah, for being a jackwagon. No doubt about it. But let's listen in some more, shall we?
And why do you engage in that type of filming?
So I'm going to ask you, Mr. Mead, to direct your questions about the incident in question.
The reason I was filming Mr. Gort that day?
Objection, Your Honor. Oh, I'm sorry.
So
there wasn't a question posed, so I'm not sure what he was.
Mr. DeCastro, on the day in question, why did you approach that vehicle?
I was filming that cop because that's what I do for a living. I am a member of the press, and I invoked my right to be press. I always invoke my right to be press within the first 10 seconds of engaging with police, and I have thousands of videos that prove this.
So this is how you make money?
This is not how specifically I make money. I make money from selling legal documents to people.
Okay, go ahead.
Now wait a minute, Chille. You want us to believe that you make your money from selling indestructible trifolds? According to Social Blade, you're making a shitload of money. Let's say those figures are way off and you only make 1/3 of that. That's still a sizable amount of money. But you want us to believe you make all your money from selling books and trifolds online? Right, sonny boy. We were born at night, but it wasn't last night. How stupid do you think we are? And the judge is smarter than you.
Do you recall the officer telling you to back up?
Yes, I do.
And what did you do after he told you to back up?
I took a couple steps back. I just showed him that I was willing to back up a little bit. However, if I may, in Arizona, they created a 10-foot law.
Objection, relevance. We're not in Arizona. It's the state of Nevada.
So I'm going to allow it because I think that goes to why he kept saying 10 feet in the video, even though I will take judicial notice that you're not in the state of Arizona, you're in the state of Nevada.
Well, a federal judge struck it down, Your Honor, and
Stop. Can you ask him a question?
Yes, Your Honor. Approximately how many feet did you back up?
I backed up a foot or two. I was at least 10 feet away from that car that the driver was pulled over in.
And when you spoke to the driver, what did you say?
Just after she was okay. The reason I phoned police is because they abuse people so often.
Do you recall the officer telling you not to speak with the driver?
Yes.
And did you make any statements to the driver after that command was given?
Absolutely not.
Did the officer ever give you a specific distance to back up to?
No, he didn't.
If he did, would you have complied with that?
Sure.
Did you believe you were complying with the officer's commands?
100%. I also informed him I'm a member of the press, I'm a constitutional law scholar, that this is what I do.
Now, just so we're all on the same page here, let's take a quick look at what got Chille into trouble into the first place. Roll that brief clip.
Don't tell me what to do.
Please go that way.
Don't tell me what to do.
Then let's just
You're
start
not
walking.
my boss.
I'm giving you a lawful order. Let's start walking now. Let's go. We're going this way.
Are you going to put your hands on me now? Leave me
Well,
alone.
listen, sir, we're going this way.
Well, don't touch me, dude.
I'm just standing
here.
you to where you need to go.
Are you guys going to surround me? Leave me alone.
I am escorting you to where
There's
you
no
need
reason
to
to
go.
do this. I'm not trying to fight anybody.
I'm
There's
not
no
saying you're
victim
doing
here.
it.
There's no crime. You're just trying to dominate another person. Just leave me alone. Okay, I can leave, but you don't have to walk up on me.
Let's go. You haven't
So
left
what's
yet.
the emergency? Is there an
Because
emergency?
somebody's dead,
sir. Is that enough emergency for you? Where are they at? Let's go. Where are they at? Where are they at? Are they right here? Let's go.
Do you recall the officer explaining to you why he decided to arrest you?
There's several parts to the reason why he said he was going to arrest me. He said he was going to arrest me because I wouldn't turn my head a certain direction. If I didn't turn and face the car with my head, that he would place me under arrest instead of just giving me a ticket.
Do you recall him explaining why he decided to detain you before he arrested you?
He decided to obtain me because he said I was obstructing, which, from my understanding, is a physical act where I would have to get in the way. He said that the driver deserved privacy. I believe my First Amendment rights are not up for feelings.
Did he explain to you that the basis of your detention was related primarily to the issue of privacy or the issue of you backing up?
Well, I think from the officer's testimony, we can see that he's scared of the driver, scared of me, scared of everything. They teach them to be afraid of everything. So I had 2 cameras out. It's identified as a member of the press. I'm sorry, repeat the question. I want to get it specific for the record.
Sure. The question was, did the officer explain to you that the basis of your detention was because of you not backing up or because of the privacy issue of the driver?
It was both. He said that, he told me to back up. I backed up a little bit. Then he said, she deserves privacy. And then I told him to go get in your car, little doggy, and write your ticket. And at that point, his face turned beet red, and his veins in his neck stuck out because we were over 20 feet away. And you had to holler to hear each other because the wind was probably 30 miles an hour.
Did you at any point attempt to hit any of the officers involved?
No, absolutely not.
Did you intentionally swat any of the officers?
Absolutely not. He was giving me unlawful commands. I should not have been detained after I identified as a member of the press. If he ever reached a hand out towards me, I wrestle and teach MMA, and I have for 30 years. So it's just a natural reaction as I'm retreating from somebody. If I may have put my hand up, as he said, as he testified himself, I certainly am a law-abiding citizen. I don't break the law. So I would not have tried to assault an officer under any circumstances.
Is it possible that during the interactions there was inadvertent contact between you and the officer?
Sure, he decided to go hands-on with me when he was giving me unlawful commands. And there was absolutely no reason for it. I was willing to comply with anything he asked within reason, because I don't want to have a fist fight with another man on the street.
Do you recall the officer ordering you to go to his patrol vehicle?
I do.
And what did you do in response to that?
Initially, I told him no, but then when he began to get physical with me and start to grab me and touch me, I said, okay, I'll go over to your car. His car was 35 feet away. I then led him to his car. It's on video, you can see it. I walked right up to his car, and then he insisted still on grabbing me. After he saw me pull out an additional phone, which that's what press people do. We have lots of cameras on us.
And did you inform the officer that you were a member of the press?
Oh, several times. It's in the transcripts. I've transcribed them myself. Several times I told him I'm a member of the press.
And did you explain to the officer that you have a background in constitutional law?
Yes, I told him I'm a constitutional law scholar, which was a moniker given to me by other people who are also, they have their own channels, their own press, and that's what some other lawyers on another channel called me 3 years ago.
So let me get this straight, Chille. You're a constitutional law scholar because somebody else on a different channel said you are. You're so full of it. Let's roll a clip just to dispel that notion.
I'm also a constitutional law scholar. I'm a constitutional law scholar, not a mathematician. So, okay. I'm going to do it anyway. I'm a constitutional law scholar. I'm a constitutional law scholar. Terry equals immediate detainment unless you're a constitutional law scholar.
I'm broadcasting this message to my thousands of followers on YouTube. I'm a constitutional law scholar. You don't have to be smart. You don't have to be a constitutional law scholar. Focus on the numbers. You don't have to be a constitutional law scholar. Let me ask you something. I'm a constitutional law scholar. You see on the back of my shirt. Don't talk to them. You're not a constitutional law scholar. Yes, it is. Who's the constitutional law scholar? Who's the cop? You know, I'm a constitutional law scholar. I'm a constitutional law scholar. So I'm not going to follow a mandate because I'm a constitutional law scholar. I'm a constitutional law scholar. I teach civil liberties. While yours says elementary school, mine says constitutional law scholar. You're a clown, dude. I'm a constitutional law scholar. A constitutional law scholar.
Just to get some, further background, were you looking for police to report on this particular day?
No, the cops hide on the side of the road to pull people over. It's pretty regular in our country. I was just in the parking lot there. I saw that Mr. Bork had somebody pulled over. Concerned for her safety, I began to film.
And why do you think that law enforcement traffic stops are relevant to the public?
That's where most people get killed.
Objection relevance to that question. Move to strike.
State.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
State.
I have no questions for this witness.
Thank you. Sir, you may step down. This is defense trust?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Any argument by the state?
Your Honor, the state asks you to find the defendant guilty of both the obstructing a public officer as well as resisting a public officer charged against him. The video very adequately portrays, and I don't think it's disputed by the defendant, what the context was of the interaction with the officer. I would venture to say that had the defendant just complied with the original order to not engage with the driver and to back up, we wouldn't be here. He wouldn't have found himself further engaging with Officer Bork. This is not a First Amendment issue. As you heard over and over and over again on the video, Officer Bork did not have a problem with the defendant recording. It's not a First Amendment issue. It's an officer safety issue. Here you have an officer who conducted a lawful traffic stop. You saw the nature of the stop. There was no animosity between the officer and the driver. It was rather peaceful. They were engaged, banter back and forth. He would have, as he testified, he was trying to determine whether he was going to cite her or let her go with a warning. And then you have an individual, the defendant, introduce himself to a situation. Traffic stops, Your Honor, are inherently dangerous, particularly in crowded parking lots. I guess anywhere, I would venture to say. This officer was reasonable in thinking that anyone who would approach in the manner that the defendant approached his scene would have a reason to fear for his safety, or at least be suspicious of this individual's motives coming in. The officer had no problem with the recording. The officer had no problem with the defendant observing. It was when he inserted himself into this lawful detention that was occurring with the Hyundai driver that the officer turned his attention onto the defendant. This is not a First Amendment issue. This is an individual who took what he perceived to be his rights too far. The officer was well within his right, as well as acting reasonably when he asked him to back up. That 21-foot rule, it's appropriate. He said that was the training that they received in terms of the distance that's allowed for someone who means to do them harm. It's a threat assessment. We don't know when the defendant approached whether he had a gun concealed, whether he had a knife concealed, whether he had other weapons. And you'll hear multiple times in the video, Officer Bork yelling, "Stop reaching, stop reaching." This is an unknown, when defense counsel asked Officer Bork all of these questions about how it is that you do this, and Officer Bork kept responding, it depends on the situation, it depends on the totality of the circumstances. Here was an officer acting alone, individually, engaged one-to-one with a driver. That he had no problem with. You insert another individual who enters the scene in the manner that the defendant did, and now this officer's attention is going to be divided. He had every reason to fear for his safety as well as that of the driver. Again, if he had just complied with the officer's commands or demands to back up, and a lot was made about, hey, he didn't have an opportunity to tell the defendant exactly how far back. As the officer testified, even just with the, hey, back up, the defendant didn't back up, not willingly. That's why the officer had to continue to engage with him and force him into the situation. Had he complied, he would not have been charged with obstruction. Had he complied initially, he would not have been charged with the resisting. The officer was, you are going to have to assess credibility. There's nothing in the video or Officer Bork's testimony that would cause the court to question his veracity or his intention for that matter. He was very honest in that he didn't believe the defendant wasn't trying to harm him necessarily with the SWAT. That's why the defendant wasn't charged with the battery on a protected person or a police officer. But that SWAT, Your Honor, I would argue, was meant to resist. At that point in time, the officer was trying to detain him and subsequently arrest him on the obstruction as depicted in the video. And so at this point, I think we proved by beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant did hinder Officer Bork's investigation and detention of the Hyundai driver, and that he resisted the officer's arrest and or attempt to arrest him. And so we would ask that you find the defendant guilty of both.
Thank you.
We're not going to listen to Chille's long-winded attorney try to get him out of this because there is no getting out of it. He's guilty as charged. So let's skip to the sentencing phase because that's the good part. Roll that clip.
A few minutes later.
All right, Mr. DeCastro, please stand. The problem with the argument that your attorney makes is it completely fails to consider the safety of the officer and the safety of the driver. The officer doesn't know who you are, and the driver doesn't know who you are. And you don't have any right to interfere with that officer doing his investigation and deciding if he wants to issue a ticket to this driver. And you also don't have any business approaching the driver. The driver didn't ask you for help. The driver didn't say, help, help, You didn't see an altercation happening between the officer and this driver. The officer didn't protest that you were filming. There's no problem with filming. You can film. It's fine. All right? But you did interfere with his investigation. You did interfere with his ability to do his job. You did put him in a position where he is concerned for his safety and the safety of the driver. So I believe the state's met their burden beyond reasonable doubt. I'm going to find you guilty of obstructing a public officer and resisting a public officer. So I'd like to hear from the state and then your attorney prior to sentencing.
Your Honor, in terms of sentencing, I would ask that our defendant enter and complete a An impulse control class, I would ask that the court lobby a $500 fine or the equivalent in community service. I would ask that the defendant be ordered to stay out of trouble for the pendency of the case. And I would ask for a 90-day suspended sentence. And that's on as to each count to one concurrent. That's our request.
Thank you.
Take note that the prosecution is asking for a $500 fine and a 90-day suspended sentence in jail. And did you see the look on the judge when she said 90-day suspended sentence? The judge has something else in mind. Again, we're going to skip over the defense attorney. Let's get right to the crux of the matter.
A few minutes later.
When you say he doesn't wish to engage in any wrongdoing, it seems to me from observing him in the video that he wants this. He wants to get arrested. He wants to get into an altercation with police officers. He welcomes this. This helps his YouTube channel. He called the officers here in my courtroom today pigs. He called and he's nodding his head up and down. So apparently he hates every law enforcement officer in the United States. All right. Please stand up, sir. Are you finished with your request for credit for time served?
I would just emphasize, Your Honor, that the defendant testified and he sincerely believes that he is providing a public service when he reviews and films these incidents. I understand the court may have a different view of that, but when we're talking about First Amendment public policy issues such as supervising people involved in government, I think that is something the court can take into consideration, not to have a chilling effect on that. I'll spit on that, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. DeCastro, please stand. I hereby sentence you to 90 days in the Clark County Detention Center on count 1, 90 days in the Clark County Detention Center on count 2, to run consecutive for a total of 180 days in custody. Thank you.
Sentence suspended or?
Oh no, I'm going to start right now.
Can you put you please? I'm going to keep shoulders check. This is a travesty of justice. Unbelievable. I don't like police. They put me in jail for half a year. How long have I been in the house? Just get in the car. Yeah, it's in the trunk. Can I give my keys off? My keys are in there. In the car garage. They're inside my. Can I read it? No, in the briefcase. Yeah. I'll get your stuff. It's a mini man, some popcorn place on it. Get a hold of my assistant, James.
Now that's the true walk of shame right there, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't get any worse than that. Got his head down and he's walking back in torture cuffs. And guess what they're going to do? They're going to make him bend over, spread his butt cheeks, and look up there with a flashlight. Yeah, I bet you're going to love that, boy. Just to make sure he was in jail, I checked at the Clark County website, and there he is. He's an inmate. Oh, Chille, how embarrassing for you. Perhaps Chille should have brought his indestructible trifold to court. That might have helped him out a little bit. He could have showed the judge. Now, I couldn't find the original clip, the one that was played in court that got him put in jail. But here's another clip very similar to the one that got him in trouble today. Let's go ahead and roll this clip. And remember, enjoy.
Can we help you? You could just do your job, mind your own business. That's what you could do. Excuse me? I told you, I'd say it again, you could mind your own business. I'm doing my job. I appreciate your time. But just, if I was you, I'd just shut your mouth so I don't put you in your place. That's what I'd do if I was you. I'd shut up. If I was you. Unless you want to look like an idiot on YouTube.
We're still pretty close to the road, so let's push this out a little bit further.
If you just keep going that way for me, I'm okay if you videoing, but video over there for
Don't
me,
tell
okay?
me where to stand. I'm a constitutional law scholar. I'm suing you guys for $5 million. I'll sue you for $5 million more.
Let's see if I have this right. A constitutional law scholar who's never won a lawsuit. Oh, and I'm telling you, Chille, you won't win the $5 million ones either. See, he's got 2 $5 million lawsuits filed in Las Vegas right now. They're going to laugh him out of court.
You don't have a right to tell me what to do.
I'm just asking you to
Shut
stand
your
over there.
piggish
We're
mouth.
still doing
And
it.
don't approach me. Shut your mouth.
Sir, do you see the crime
Shut
scene
your
tape
mouth
over there?
and shut your mouth.
Do you see
I'm
the
your
tape?
boss.
Do you see the tape
You
over there?
understand that?
Let's
Shut
go
your
back
mouth.
over
I'm
there.
walking down the street. Mind your own business.
No,
I'm just standing here.
this-
If
we-
you hadn't
I'm
approached
the
me,
sergeant.
don't come behind me, piggy. Okay? If you hadn't approached me, I don't give a damn what you are. You're not a sergeant. Shut your mouth. I'm here doing my job. I'm a member of the press. I invoke my First Amendment right.
Okay.
Now, I invoke my Fifth Amendment right, so don't ask me another question. Take 3 steps back, gentlemen. I'm not your suspect. Take 3 steps back from me.
Okay, sir, there's a crime scene
Take
tape over
3
there,
steps
and
back
you're
from
standing
me.
in a crime scene now,
I'm
so you
walking
need to
down the
leave.
street. I can walk
Okay.
anywhere I want. There's
Sir,
not crime
this is
scene
the
right
crime
here.
scene.
The crime tape would be over here then, wouldn't it, dunce cap?
Speaking of dunce cap, you're a member of the press, huh? Who do you work for? Oh, that's right. He's an independent jackwagon. Chille, I would have loved to seen him behind bars. He was behind bars for 12 hours. I bet he didn't run his smart mouth while he was in there, did he? He probably hid in the corner somewhere and prayed nobody would jump on him. Oh, he needed his mommy.
I get you didn't graduate from high
There's
school,
crime
did you?
scene tape right there, okay?
We're just asking you to
I don't
step
give a
over
rat's
there.
ass what you say. Do you understand that?
Sir,
I don't
you
care
don't have
what
to
you
make
say.
this
I'm not
difficult,
breaking
sir.
any laws. Make it difficult. If you'd mind your own damn business, we wouldn't be talking right now. If you hadn't opened your mouth, I wouldn't be talking to you.
I'm
just
what you're
filming
doing,
this.
and you're okay to film.
I'm a member of
I'm
the
just
press.
asking
I
to
told
film
you I
over
invoke
there.
my Fifth Amendment right. You have a
your-
right to
you
ask me
have-
questions.
You have your.
I got the
film- you have
First
your
Amendment.
press
What are the
documents.
first 5 big freedoms of the
Where are
First
your press
Amendment?
documents,
You have
sir?
your press
I'm a
documents, sir.
constitutional law scholar, you dunce cap. What is it like to
Sir,
be so stupid?
there's
I wonder what
crime
that's
scene
like.
tape right there,
What's
and
it
that's
like
where
to
you
be a
need to go.
moron?
You walked
What's it like to
underneath-
not know
sir,
our rights?
You walked underneath
Correct
the crime
him.
scene tape already, sir.
Hey, correct him, sir. Correct this man. Explain to him that he doesn't have a
this is
right.
your
Don't
Sir,
put your hands on
you've
me.
already-
I would love to talk to one of the prosecuting attorneys and see what their opinion is when he says, I'm a constitutional law scholar. Well, hey, constitutional law scholar, the Fifth Amendment is for when you testify in court. It's not for when you're standing on the street corner. Yeah, you invoke the Fifth Amendment in a court of law because you don't want to incriminate yourself, you stupid law professor.
He walked across
Are you
the
gonna run
crime
over
scene
and grab
tape.
me? Are you gonna run over and grab me?
Sir, you've already...
Are you gonna run over?
Sir,
I'm walking down the street,
Keep
gentlemen.
walking,
I have a
man.
right to film this.
Keep
You
walking.
understand that?
I understand.
I have a right to
I'm
film
asking
this.
you to
If you
film
touch
over
me,
there.
I will sue you. I
You're
sue
more
you
than
cops
welcome.
Crime scene
every
tape
time.
already, sir.
I was walking down the street. I have a right to do so.
Okay, but we
There's
are
crime
telling
scene
you
tape.
that you need to
Your cop
continue
told me to
walking.
walk over here. I have it on video.
Okay, and I understand that.
You're confronting me when you should be working on your job.
If you
I love when frauditors say, I'm the boss. I'm your boss. You work for me. Not likely, Chille. I don't know. Are you living in Nevada now? You bozo? Yeah, he's not a boss. He's a bozo. Lives in his van. Doesn't even have a permanent residence. You're a pitiful little man, Chille.
Go ahead and arrest me and find out how quick I sue your ass.
Sir.
Just do it.
Okay.
Okay, I have to
Go
walk
across-
the other
go to
way,
the crime
so I'm
scene,
going to
sir.
be walking over here.
Go to the crime scene tape, sir.
Don't tell me what to do.
please go that way.
Don't tell me what to do.
Then let's just
You're
start
not my
walking.
boss.
I'm giving you a lawful order. Let's start walking now. Let's go. We're going this way.
Are you going to put your hands on me now? Leave me
Well,
alone.
listen, sir, we're this way.
Well, don't touch me, dude.
I'm just
Dude,
trying-
I'm just
I'm
standing here.
escorting you
I'm
to
just
where you need to go.
Are you guys going to surround me? Leave me alone.
I am escorting you to where
There's
you
no
need
reason
to
to
go.
do this. I'm not trying to fight anybody.
I'm
There's
not
no
saying you're
victim
doing
here.
it,
There's
sir.
no crime. You're just trying to dominate another
Let's do
person.
the- go to
Just
the crime
leave
scene
me
tape, sir.
alone. Okay, I can leave, but you don't have to walk up on
then
me.
let's go,
You
sir.
haven't
So
left
what's
yet.
the emergency? Is there an
Because
emergency?
we-
Somebody's
You're
dead,
trying-
sir. Is that
Okay,
enough emergency
but
for
where
you?
are they at?
Let's go.
Where are they at? Where are they at? Are they right here?
Let's go, sir.
Am I causing any problems?
Frauditors always talk about de-escalation, but Chille? No, he wants to escalate. He's the one that's causing the problem right now, and it's all for clicks and views. It's all for the camera. It's all for YouTube.
Sir, let's go.
The only thing you're
Come
doing
on.
is losing
Let's
your
go, sir.
cool, acting like an
Sir,
idiot.
the crime scene tape is
You're
right here.
acting like
Let's
a
go.
dunce cap.
Let's go, sir.
You're on camera
Crime
acting
scene
like
right
a
here, sir. Let's
moron,
go.
bro.
Come on, sir.
No, look at this. I got 1, 2,
No, we're
3, 4
escorting
cops.
you to make sure
For
you
what?
leave
What
the
good's it doing?
area.
What good's it doing?
Just go on
You
the
don't
other
need to
side of the
escort me.
crosswalk.
Go back to where
You
you're
just haven't
going.
left
I'm
yet.
walking. I'm walking right now.
Now let's
Oh,
go.
now you're threatening me with violence. Now this guy's threatening me with violence.
Let's go, sir.
Now they're pushing me. Look at their hands all over me. Look at that. Look at that.
You're right.
All,
We're escorting you.
don't touch me, boys. Don't. What are you?
Well, there you have it, good people. Stupid is as stupid does, and they don't get much more stupid than Chille DeCastro with his trifold, his indestructible trifold. Yeah, you picked on the wrong ones today, Chille. 12 hours behind bars. Too bad you couldn't do longer. Could have got to know Bubba and the boys. Well, at any rate, if you enjoy watching stupid people do stupid things on my channel, this is the place for you. And please subscribe. As always, thanks so much for stopping by, Chille.
I've actually studied English, and I have over a 400 level education in English. I'm not sitting down. I refuse to sit down. I refuse. Big tough guy. Big tough guy. Big tough guy. What are you gonna do about it? Nothing. Nothing. You can come try to make me. You're welcome to try to make me. Take a swing. Take a swing.
What is the reason for calling the officers here?
No reason I'm really unhappy that somebody did this to me.
I'm going to arrest you for trespassing in a minute.
On public property?
Yeah, we're asking you to leave and you're not leaving. That's trespassing.
She's right in my face, guys. You can't come up and touch me like that.
You don't have permission to film me in any space.
I don't need permission to
Yes, you do.
record you in public, man. No,
Actually,
that's
you
the
do.
law.
Oh, is that like a law?
against the law.
Oh, what law is that? Funny, because I've never heard about that. I pay for that uniform, I pay for that car, I'm the taxpayer, right? You work for me, right? You're just a little guy. You're just a little guy. You work for me. You are a public servant. You are a public servant. You work for me.
Oh, you assaulted me. I did. You assaulted me. She assaulted me. Call the police. Call the police. Call the police.
Take a swing. Take a swing. You'll go to jail. Go ahead, put your hands on me. Put your hands on me.
Salam alhamdulillah. Allahu Akbar. Haknuikan da kra. Ula wala pupatai.
Ignorance of the law is not an excuse. I'm being forcibly removed from the building again of a public lobby, so.
So if you want to take off that gun and badge, I'm happy to scrap with you one day. You want to do it, let's do it. Let me know, buddy.
Okay, I don't want that man taking my picture. Why don't you take him out of here?
Sir, you hit me.
I'm gonna do
You
that
hit
next.
me.
Okay?
Sir, okay, now
you take my picture. I don't know you. I got a broken shoulder.
We really haven't been getting a lot of support from the community. You know, we need help getting hotels. We pretty much got the food and gas covered, but if there's any way anyone can help out in any way, guys, the hotels, the fees have really been killing us.
I have been putting in job applications, and I don't know any job where you walk up to it, fill out the application, and they hire you right on the spot.
$60, guys, is what we're trying to raise, so if you can help out, contribute towards it, feel free to donate, guys.
I won't ever ask for money on this channel again.
Hey, what's up, guys? So we're here at the America's Best Value. We're trying to get a room.
I'm asking for help. Please, guys, I need y'all's help.
We're a little low on funds, guys. So I want to make a quick video. If there's any way you guys can help out, we're trying to get a room.
I will never beg you for it. I won't beg nobody for nothing.
Donate to the PayPal if you can help out. If you can't, I understand.
A PayPal link below. So if any of you would like to send me some money to help me out, I could greatly use it, but I'm not begging you for it.